From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big noontime here on LALATE with big exciting news about your fourth stimulus check updated 2021. In this recording, we go over the fourth stimulus check, how much you're going to get and why you're going to get it, and why there was breaking news that impacts your fourth stimulus today, and it's all really incredible, great news. Then the second half of this recording, we go to the breaking news out of Georgia that impacts your fifth stimulus. This is the SSI and SSDI reform coming in the fall that'll raise your benefits, especially if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, and also survivor benefits. Then in the middle of this video, we go over the big, exciting, great news about money landing your bank account today and this week, and some of the money that's automatic, and some of the money you have to do something for, and that deadline is the end of today. It's a big noontime. I'm really excited for you. Across the land and across the sea, from my home to your home, let's get to it. This is Noontime LALATE. Hey, good noontime, everybody. How you doing? This is LALATE. Hope you're having a beautiful Monday noontime. It's shortly before 12 noon here on the West Coast. It's wonderful weather here in LA. How's the weather where you are? I hope it's wonderful and safe. In this fourth stimulus check updated 2021, we go over those monthly stimulus checks starting the month of July. We go over how much, when you're going to get it, and why the breaking news today signals a change potentially for the House proposal, but why the other breaking news also signals the incredible great support for these monthly stimulus checks. Then we cut to the fifth stimulus package of the second half of this recording, and why the news out of Georgia now supports the notion that potentially your benefits could not just be lifted once, but lifted a lot more in December. Wow, incredible great news. And then in the middle of the recording, we go over the $5, $10, $15, $20,000 money you can get right now, and some of the money you have to do something by the end of the day to get it in a few weeks from now. This is LALATE, the only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel, the only one of its kind, broadcasting live in the morning, taped in the afternoon. You're watching a live show, and I'm back with you on afternoons LALATE at 3 o'clock and then evenings at 5 o'clock. That's West Coast time. So make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Let's get right to the breaking news right off the bat, which is the fourth stimulus check, which has two proposals, the House versus Senate. And the House proposal got a change impacted tangentially today. We'll go over the details about it right now. So the House proposal, like the Senate proposal, provides monthly stimulus checks. But the House proposal provides that the stimulus checks would be the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. It's the language remainder of the pandemic that's getting a change today. We'll go over why there's a change at issue. If you're in the live chat just before 12 noon on the West Coast, 3 o'clock on the East Coast, jump in the live chat and vote House or Senate, but don't vote yet because I have the breaking news to deliver to you. So the House members provide the first month would be $2,000, $1,000 thereafter. The Senate amount is unknown, but word on the street is it's this. $2,000 a month over 6 months, starting the month of July, per person. Wow, wow, wow. Or $1,400 a month, starting the month of July, from July to December, $8,400 a person. And now let's get to the breaking news. In view of that House proposal, pandemic plus 1 year, what's going on? The pandemic refers to legislatively the continuation of the pandemic, not whether the virus is gone or not. And the House proposal was thought of just a week ago today, that maybe we have 3 months left of the pandemic. So that would be 3 months of the House proposal plus 1 year, 15 months of stimulus checks. Pretty easy to understand. But then came Thursday, when the CDC announced the mask mandate was lifted for vaccinated people. And then came Friday, when the president announced the same at the White House. Today, corporate America across the country is lifting the mask mandate if you're vaccinated. Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, Starbucks, all lifting mask mandates where not otherwise locally required. And locally required is going away as well. Dr. Scott Gottlieb this morning said there will not be a mask mandate in June anywhere. And in fact, in California, where the governor is Democrat, it's being lifted in June 15th. So that signals then the question, when is the pandemic over when concerning the House proposal? By most accounts, and this is why there's breaking news today, the House proposal, where it's pandemic plus 1 year, may only be 1 year because the vote is in July. And by July, many believe that legislatively, the pandemic will be over by then. So then we fall back to the calculations. House proposal, $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. That would mount to 12 months of checks, 1 year. $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. That would be $13,000 over 12 months versus the Senate proposal, which is 6 months and potentially the same amount of money. Now vote. House versus Senate. Suddenly the Senate looks like clearly the same amount of money as the House proposal because we're ending the near of the pandemic. I have more about that coming up and later in this recording. But let's go over the other amounts in the forced stimulus that you need to know. First, who's going to get it? You're going to get it. So if you got the third stimulus check, you'll get the fourth. Single individual makes less than $75,000, you'll get the fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you get the fourth stimulus check. Double it. Household 4 or less, you get the fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on SSI and SSDI, Social Security and Railroad benefits, congratulations, you're getting the fourth stimulus check. Remember, I'm a reporter. I just report the news. I don't legislate. I don't vote on the bill. And ultimately, I'm reporting what they're representing. And they represent that the vote will be in July. That means that the first check would be in the month of July for the month of July. August for the month of August. There would be no ways of stimulus checks because there is a monthly stimulus check. It's not taxable because it's not income. And that the amount of the stimulus check would be the same for everyone. For adult dependents, for minor dependents, for everyone else, all would be the same amount of the stimulus check. And that's your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. But I got more breaking news about that in the second half of this video. And let me give you a preview of what is coming up in the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus, that SSI reform that will be raised up one time under the fifth stimulus package. Who? It's for you. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, Survivor benefits, and SSA. You would be raised up one time and then be added a benchmark that would be new called inflation. And that inflationary benchmark would trigger step-ups every December for the next year. Well, there's breaking news forming on Friday, and there's breaking news today out of the Georgia Federal Reserve chair that suggests that the inflationary rate this December that will lift up your benefits will be far more than 2 to 3%. Wow, incredible, great news. So we have that coming up in the second half of this recording. But now let me cut back to really what is going on now with the big money at hand, and that is that big money available right now. It's important to understand that when we're looking at that big money, and that big money, some of it is automatic and some of it's not automatic. In this recording, when I refer to automatic money, I will be referring to donut money, where you don't have to do anything. It's like a donut. Just sit back and enjoy that cherry-filled donut. It's automatic. And then other money I'll refer to as tough love money, meaning you have to do something. And let's get to the details right off the bat. The incredible great news to start is that there's $5,000 to $25,000 of money available for you for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also homeowners utility assistance, and also SNAP. When third stimulus package passed in January, I told you as a viewer, and you certainly understood it very well and been doing a great job, I'm very proud of you, is not to go stimulus check to stimulus check. You don't go second stimulus check to third stimulus check to fourth stimulus check. Because I said there's a lot of other money available for you to get that dwarfs that stimulus check. And it's this money, and now it's going live. It went live last week, this week, and next week. And where is it? Let's go over the details. First, rent. It's about $5,000 a person. About 4 to 6 months have passed due, about 4 to 6 months of rent. And where do you get it? Get a pen and paper ready because I had a lot of money to give you in this video. And stay with me to the very end because there's a lot of money across this entire 30-minute video. The rent is about $5,000, 4 to 6 months of rent. The utilities a couple hundred to $1,000 approximately. The mortgage assistance is whatever the mortgage is at issue. And then the homeowner's utility bill is about the same. So where do you get it? 6 places. Hope you got that pen and paper ready. Let's go. City Hall, City Housing Authority. County Hall, County Housing Authority. State Hall, State Housing Authority. And you're going to reach out to them and ask them for rent assistance because of COVID. That's all you say. You can also say the Biden American Recovery Act, but you do not use the word stimulus. And there you go. Next item that is incredible great news is the money for SNAP. SNAP is money for food. If you're not on SNAP and qualify for a stimulus check, you should be getting SNAP. Where do you get it? Department of Agriculture. Department of Agriculture. Reach out to 211 to get connected to their phone number. And how much can you get? A lot. A family of four in Hawaii now gets upwards of $14,000 to $16,000 a year because of a Biden and a Trump executive orders, two of them, that lifted your benefits 15% for 1 year. So there you go. Wow, we're doing pretty good. 10 minutes of this video. $14,000, $16,000 for SNAP and $5,000 for food, for mortgage and rent and utilities. Incredible, great news. But it brings me to my first tough love moment. And that tough love moment is the following. It involves not one, but two reality checks. Reality check number one is that money for mortgage, rent, and utilities is a very, very big payout. And I've been detailing this channel since the moment it was written in the bill. And it's landing now. But it's not coming back into fourth stimulus or fifth stimulus. It's the last ride at the rodeo this time around. So get it. As I coined the expression in January, actually two expressions. First, Purple Hawk, and then Stimulus Stampede. I said, when the money lands, you have to be a Purple Hawk, 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 and pounce and get that money because there'll be a Stimulus Stampede of people trying to get that money before you. And guess what? It's not coming back in July on the fourth stimulus or in the fall on the fifth stimulus, which brings us to reality check number two. The eviction moratorium and the mortgage forbearance are going away. They're going away, so they're not coming back under fourth stimulus. Republicans and Democrats don't want to bring it back. So this is why they wanted you to get this money, so they can lift those orders accordingly. And with that, you deserve not one, but two donut moments. Let's get to those donut moments right now. I'm really excited for you. Donut moment number one. And one viewer said, wow, my husband's going to get $5,000 out of it. It is money coming back from your states. And it is money that they originally had you return back to them, and they did. So what's at issue? Let's go over the details. It's automatic, and it's landing in the bank account you have on file with your states. So let's go over the details. The federal government, Department of Labor, has stepped in and told states who overpaid you unemployment benefits to no fault of your own due to a computer malfeasance to return money back to you, that those states had ordered you to return back money to them. Here's the example. Some states sent extra money to some citizens due to a computer malfeasance at the state level, and then asked those citizens to return the money back to the states. Department of Labor, federal government has stepped in and said, no, that was a mistake. You should not have ordered them to return the money back to you. You, states, must now return the money back to those citizens. Incredible, great news. And congratulations, that one viewer is getting $5,000. Which brings me to another great donut moment. And this viewer also said, wow, thank you, LALATE. I got $2,000 last week. Thank you so much. So where is this money landing? It's landing from the federal government, IRS and Treasury. Where is it landing? In either the mailbox or the direct deposit account. It's in the mailbox if your tax return had no direct deposit account listed, and it's in the direct deposit account if you did list a tax return on that tax return. IRS is returning money back to citizens who paid taxes on their 2020 unemployment benefits to the federal government in a 2020 tax return. And we learned late Saturday in a breaking news from the IRS that there's going to be 3 phases of paying this money. Phase 1 is people who filed a tax return who are single individuals who have no dependents and no refunds elsewhere on the return. And those phase 1 people are getting paid last week and early this week. Phase 2 are people who have more complicated single returns, may have a dependent and may have other refunds. You're getting paid later this week into next week. And phase 3 are joint filers like husband and wife. You're later this month. Everyone's getting paid in May. So how much you're getting? You're getting back the taxes you paid to the federal government on your 2020 tax return for unemployment assistance. Here's the example. Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment assistance in 2020. You filed a 2020 tax return with the IRS. The total tax bill was $5,000, of which $4,000 was taxes on unemployment. You're getting back $4,000 automatically. It's a great donut moment, which brings me to the tough love moment. The tough love moment is triggered in the next series of tough love moments. You're going to hear me talk about a deadline. The deadline which I started covering, and I started tough love moments last week, is the end of today. What is the end of today? Your personal, federal, tax return is due with IRS by the end of today. And you're going to see in a series of these tough love moments where I tell you, you have to do it by the end of today. If you don't do it by the end of the day, you're not going to get paid these tough love monies. And guess what? I'm probably not going to be covering this subjects after today, because after today, you're either getting it because you followed the advice or you're not getting it because you didn't follow the advice. All right, so first item up to bid is that if you got unemployment in 2020 and took out the federal taxes, then you need to file a 2020 tax return by the end of today requesting that money back. Example, you had unemployment benefits, you took out $100 a week for federal taxes over 10 weeks, that's $1,000. You have to file a tax return by the end of today requesting that money back. Which brings me to the incredible great news about parents and kids. A lot of money is being paid in the month of July. If two events occurred, one, you make less than $75,000, and two, IRS knows that child is with you. If you have a child 5 to newborn, you're getting $3,600 per child, prorated over 12 months, which is $300 a month. Or if that child's 17 to 6, you're getting $3,000, prorated over 12 months, which is $250 a month. Now, here brings us to tough love moment number one. You never file a tax return, and you believe in your heart that IRS does not know that child is with you. If you do not file that tax return by the end of the day, you're not going to get paid in July, if you're correct. So here's an example. A mother of a 5, 4, and 3-year-old never files tax returns, has never indicated to IRS that those children are with her, and believes in watching this video that the IRS does not know those children are with her. When July rolls around, she'll categorically 100% triple underline get, instead of $10,000, 0. So file that tax return by the end of the day if that's you. Scenario number two. If you file tough love moment number two, if you file a tax return every year but never file a tax return for that child, then IRS is not going to know that child's with you. You need to file that tax return by the end of the day. The most common example is the child was born last year in 2020. So hence the child was not on the 2019 tax return because he or she was not alive. Another example is the child was on someone else's tax return in 2019, like an ex-husband. Now IRS will not know the child is with you. So you need to file that tax return immediately by the end of today, or you won't get paid in the month of July. And scenario three, which is the most rare situation, but still is out there, is if you made a lot of money in 2019, too much so that you're ineligible for this money, but did list the child. IRS will go off the most recent tax return, which is that one, until you file 2020, and say, oh, you made too much money, we're not paying you. You need to file the 2020 tax return with that child if you're now eligible for the money. And there you go. Easy breezy, which brings me to not one, but 3 major tough love moments. And here we go. If you're missing a first stimulus check, second stimulus check, third stimulus check, or member of a household stimulus check, you categorically, positively, without a doubt, must file that tax return by the end of today. What's at issue? What's at issue is that IRS has made very emphatically clear that there is no more waves of stimulus checks, that you are to presume, and they are to presume, that if you don't have it by now, it's lost, and you have to request it on a stimulus check, on a tax return. And that tax return needs to be filed by today. So do not track the check, ask people if other people are missing checks, or wonder if the check is on its way or coming. It's not. You have to file the tax return, and it's due by the end of today. So go do it. Number two, if you don't have to file a tax return because you don't make enough money, and you're on SSI and SSDI and you don't have to file a tax return, I get it. That's not the subject of this video. IRS has made very emphatically clear that in the case of fixing certain things, you must file a tax return or you won't get this stimulus money. Here's the most obvious example of where you have to fix the situation. Let's say you have 3 kids and IRS has always known those 3 kids are with you. But in prior years, you have gotten your stimulus money in Florida. You now live in California. How is IRS going to know those children in California? If you think IRS does not know those children in California, you're not going to get the money in California. That's why you got to file a tax return. So that is a simple example, but ultimately what's important to understand is the deadline is due by the end of today. Which brings me back now to the rent, utilities, food, internet, and also mortgage assistance. The great news is that we have a series of volunteers on the community page, which is the pinned comment in the description of this video. The volunteers, if you go to the pinned comment in the description of this video, there is a link to a web page. There's an emoji of a house next to the web link. It sends you to the web page, news.la8.com/community. And on there is a picture of some cats. Later on the page shows you a link to the volunteers. Reach out to the volunteers if you've reached out for rent, utility, mortgage assistance, and you cannot find it. They cannot help you with tax advice. They don't provide it. And they cannot help you with unemployment benefits, but they can help you with all the rest of that. And guess what? I'm back in 60 seconds with big updates about fourth stimulus, big updates about fifth stimulus, breaking news just minutes ago about both items, and then a personal message for you for this afternoon. Stay with me. I'll be back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la8.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals. Reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Noontime LALATE with exciting great news across the board about your fourth stimulus check, fifth stimulus package, and more. How are you? This is LALATE. It's noontime here in LA. It's relatively sunny, but relatively cool. How's the weather where you are? Great news across the board. If you've not subscribed, I want you to subscribe. The fastest growing, and wow, 400,000 subscribers. I think we're about 100 away. So if you know any 100 people at the corner, tell them to come on in and subscribe. We're just 100 people away from 400,000. Also, like this video, 3,000 likes, let's do it, and consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and the pinned comment. You get access to the PDFs. Incredible great news. During one of the commercial breaks, someone said plus up payments. Plus up payments was really one of the worst expressions IRS ever came up with. Why? Because people think they're getting a stimulus check plus additional money. No, your total is a stimulus check. It was for people who had filed a 2019 tax return, and IRS thought that you shouldn't get the full stimulus check, so you got $900 instead of $1,400. The plus is to bring you to $1,400. Yes, everyone's qualified for a plus up. That's if you file a tax return to show them that you qualified for the full stimulus check. All right, let's go to fifth stimulus package. Fifth stimulus package, it got incredible great news today. And let me go over that incredible great news in a second. First, let me explain what fifth stimulus package is. It starts in September. And it is the latest two-step, 2-month process from these legislators, just like fourth stimulus. The only difference is instead of adding in a stimulus check, they're adding in SSI reform. First, let's go over that, and then I'll go over the breaking news. So they're going to raise your benefits, remove the asset limits, do a new one, add an inflationary benchmark. That's where the breaking news is. Then remove the income exclusion and remove the marriage penalty. Okay, easy breezy there. Let me explain it slowly. And when I get to the number calculation, then I'm going to slow it down even more for you. So first, what are they going to do under fifth stimulus? They're going to raise your benefits up. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, and if you're on multiple benefits, they'll raise your benefits up to a big new number. Then they're going to add an inflationary benchmark. So every December you get a letter in the mail. It says next year your benefits will increase by this amount. It'll be based upon inflation. So for example, let's say inflation in December is 4%. Then next year your benefits will step up 4%. Let's say the year after that, inflation is 0. Your benefits will not step down. Let's say the year after that, inflation is 0. Your benefits will not step down. They only step up. So if it's 4% in December, you step up 4%. If the year after that's 3%, you step up 3%. Very, very easy to understand. Only steps up or stays the same, never steps down. Well, then came Friday, and then came today. And boy, what a series of shockers. The Atlanta Federal Reserve President Raphael Botis told Broadcast News this morning that he really doesn't even know where the inflation rate will be this fall. And he says we need to really take a look at it and be cautious when predicting it. This is huge because remember, over the last week until Friday, until Jeremy Siegel's comments, which I'll get into in a second, we had heard from everyone 2.5% inflation to 4% inflation, meaning your benefits will go up 2.5 to 4%. Pretty easy. Well, the Fed Reserve President out of Atlanta, Bostic, said this morning that he's waiting to see the inflationary rate later this year. But his own Atlanta Fed tracker number is saying that the consumer price index, which tracks inflation, and that surged to 4.2% last month, he's predicting will be later this year at 10.5%. That is not 2 to 4% inflation, folks. That is enormous inflation. So what does that mean? Well, let's cut back to Jeremy Siegel. On Friday, Jeremy Siegel, who is professor at Wharton School of Business, a top economist and top investor, came out and was asked by Broadcast News on Friday, Jeremy, do you think the inflation rate is going to be 2 to 4% in December? He says, no, it's not going to be 2 to 4%. They said, what do you think it's going to be? 20%, he said. 20%. Now we see Bostic, who does not necessarily agree that it's 20%, but is actually predicting massive inflation later this year in his current number of CPI. We now see the possibility that suddenly the inflationary rate could be through the roof. Let's use 10% as an example. If 10% is the inflation in December, this is what would happen. First, the fifth stimulus would raise your benefits up to a big new number. Then they would add on 10%. And that 10% would be your lifetime step up. Remember, you never step down. And then over the next 3 years, let's say it only goes up 3%, 3%, 3%, 3%, it'll still step up. If it's 0% for 5 years, it'll still step up 10% in December and then 0 over all those consecutive years. This is incredible big news about a potential massive raise of your benefits in December. Then, what else is going to happen under SSI and SSDI reform? They are going to remove the asset cap. The asset cap is dating back to a 1980s law that says you cannot stay on benefit and still receive and still have more than about $3,000 on hand. That $10,000, that really comes in handy when we're talking about stimulus checks. Next, they're going to remove the income cap. The income cap is dating back to a 1962 law. I mean, it's very old, people. And they're going to get rid of it. So if you want to work, you can work. You don't have to. $1,000, $2,000 a month, you can bring in that income and still stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty. The marriage penalty penalizes people for getting married. Meaning if they get married, they lose benefits. And if you're on if you currently suffered from the marriage penalty right now, it will be gone. You would no longer suffer from it. And if you want to get married, as one viewer in the live chat mentions, wants to get married but is fearing not to get married because of the marriage penalty, it will be gone and love will win. You'll be able to marry your lifetime partner. Incredible, great news. That's the fifth stimulus package, a two-step, two-bill process starting September, likely see the impact on your benefits by around November. Which brings us back to the fourth stimulus package and the fourth stimulus check. Here's the breaking news developing this morning about the fourth stimulus check and comparison of the fifth and the fourth stimulus package. It's important to understand that the fourth stimulus check is one instrument. There are other instruments for stimulus out there. And those instruments for stimulus out there are unemployment stimulus and rental stimulus, for example. In the last 7 days, Republican and Democratic governors and legislators in Congress have come out to universally agree that unemployment stimulus needs to end and that rent stimulus needs to end. So you certainly saw that early in the video, how I told you that rent stimulus, like eviction moratorium, mortgage forbearance, and money for rent is going away. Democrats and Republicans agree that we don't need that anymore as we come out of the pandemic. They also believe, some Democrats, but all Republican governors, that unemployment stimulus needs to end as well. Here's the great news. Here's the great news that for the first time I think I've ever seen in the history of this channel, I suddenly see Republicans and Democrats understanding that a stimulus check is a different type of stimulus instrument. That the purpose of the stimulus check is to get people caught up on their bills. They have past due balances, and that the economy is opening, America is getting back to normal, the pandemic's ending, but you still have bills that need to be paid off from during the pandemic. And they now understand that stimulus checks is the instrument for that. Republican governors, in fact, have actually said, we're going to end unemployment stimulus, but we're going to give you a stimulus check to get caught up in your bills. And that's incredible great news. And that's why the Senate plan perhaps makes the most consistent argument with what people believe right now, which is you need to get caught up on your bills. You need a big cash infusion. And now the pandemic's ending. And as it ends, it may be ended by July, but you'll still need bills to get caught up on. And that's why a big, fast cash infusion is very important. Incredible great news across the board. Finally, a personal note. I don't always deliver personal notes on camera, but today I feel like doing one. There was a particular person who jumped into some of the comments in the videos earlier today, and not the live chat, but the comments, and did not take a comment to send a comment to me, but sent a comment to other viewers, and did it a few times. And that comment was the following: "You should get back to work, you lazy person." We don't need that type of mentality in our society. When looking at a stimulus check, people have been working. People are back to work. People have worked their entire life and are now retired. And some people can't work. So to tell a person, get back to work, and that they don't deserve a stimulus check is really not the type of mindset, whether it's on this channel or off this channel. The purpose of the stimulus check is that people have past due bills, and that it has nothing to do with working or not working. That's FPC, that's PEUA, and that's PEUC. We're not covering that in this video today. We're covering the issue of stimulus checks. So I hope that if you do see someone like that, as one viewer did, it's fired back right at him and said, I worked for 18 years of my life and I'm retired, so don't you tell me I have never worked a day in my life. And I love that person for that, firing back. Needless to say, that person's now banned, who kept on insulting people. But please understand that in the way in which this economy is now rebounding, in which jobs are starting to reborn, and the economy starts to reopen, people do have past due bills. And that has nothing to do with this. That's unemployment stimulus. And guess what? I'm back with you on Afternoons LALATE in just a few hours from now. That's at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, followed by Evenings LALATE. We'll have big news across the board. Wall Street's relatively flat today. Dow has been flat. Nasdaq is down about 1%. But I look forward to see you on Afternoons LALATE in a few hours from now. During this recording, we went over the breaking news about why forced stimulus suddenly has a big push, and it's on top of the push which I detailed earlier over the weekend, where the president said, for purpose of forced stimulus, get it done. He told his Democratic team, his legislators, because remember this is a reconciliation bill, get it done. It's a two-step process that's already begun. And his message was get it done. His second big breaking news, which I detailed over the weekend, and it's absolutely incredible, was the corporate tax rate concession. He said, I'll come down for you. And that corporate tax rate had remained the only potential divisive issue among Democrats who are doing the bills. The corporate tax rate the president had proposed was 28 to 29%. They wanted 20. The currently rate is 21%, and they wanted 25%. And he said, deal. And away we go. In this recording, you saw the fourth stimulus check update of 2021. The big update about this stimulus, how it'll be raised up and then tied to inflation. And we have to see how that inflation rate may go through the roof. If it does, your benefits go through the roof. And then in the middle of the recording, we went over the big money available for you right now. Some automatic, congratulations, don't have money, and some that you have to file that tax return. Get that tax return on file if you believe you're among those people in those situations. And I'll see you this afternoon on Afternoons LALATE. Just about 120 subscribers away from 400,000. What a run it has been. I really appreciate all your love and support. So subscribe. Like this video, and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused, and I'll see you on Afternoons LALATE.